2, it will be Infernal Shrine Dignitas with a pick, which means Expert is taking first.
Yeah, first pick for Expert this time. So the draft is definitely going to be changed up a bit, but we have once again a map where you can, with Global and with that side, so really excel. So I would not be surprised if Expert is starting to put a priority on exactly that, just to make sure they can play more of a macro game against Dignitas now.
Yeah, I mean, don't give up the Dahaka, and if you do take away the ETC, give yourself some control and make sure you're in a good spot to be able to move in. Now, we do have a poll currently running, Team Expert or Team Dignitas. You can hit us up at Heroes Esports on Twitter. Use that hashtag HGC. Who do you think is going to win this one? I mean, it's very important for Dignitas, and they showed it in game number 1, coming out with all their comfort picks.
Yeah, I want to see what Expert does. I think they made it easy for Dignitas in the first game. They have shown great games, Expert has, but not so in the series so far. So I want to see that more aggressive style that they showed against other teams, and they just need to find that confidence against someone as strong as Dignitas. And don't get me wrong, I completely acknowledge that going up against Dignitas is a very, very different beast, since they're just so good in their team fight and their coordination. But Expert has to somehow break through this and put pressure on them. And they failed to do that in game number 1, but they definitely have the tools to do it in game number 2.
I mean, they did it the first time these two matched up in this phase. I mean, they were able to get a victory with a 3-2. It was a very, very close series, so they are capable of it. We do know that. Game 1 was just a little bit of a rougher than we expected. And maybe something didn't go right in draft for them, so they just went for that pickup, went for something that was very less controlled than they would normally have. So going into Infernal Shrines, I expect to see that control coming out, especially around the Shrine phase. You need control. You got to be able to stand your ground.
Yeah, for sure. And again, side soak is going to be important. Having a presence on the Shrine is important. That's why we oftentimes talk about tanks, like Arthur, Sonya, for example, that can just really take that position on the Shrine. That's something that they will have to do. So I expect a very different game. The first game was, I'm going to be honest, it was a bit of a letdown. I was expecting, as we said, fireworks early on coming from Expert here. They need a win here. If they want to go to BlizzCon and they want to make the qualification an early reality, then there's no other way than going through Dignitas. So they have to fight for it right now. So I expect them to be a little bit more aggressive heading into the second game. Or if not that, then at least put more macro focus into their style and play, at least in that sense, a more disciplined game than they just did.
Well, let's kick it off here. Team Expert thinking about their ban. Will they continue to go back towards their tasks that are banned that we see them always moving into? Today they decided to ban out the Uther on Infernal Shrines. Dignitas now will have their choice of ban.
So Medivh banned out again. I like the Medivh ban. We've been going over this, why it's great against Team Expert. But banning out Uther is also a soft ban against ETC, Mosh Pit plus Divine Shield, and against Genji with Dragon Blade. From Expert, what I would like is to at least think about either ETC or Dehaka now, since Dignitas has shown, we pointed this out in the first draft, a huge affinity to head into both of these tanks if they get the chance to. So Expert, whatever they pick here, there is a chance that if it's not one of the two heroes mentioned, that Dignitas just goes straight for the double again. They have done that so far throughout the weekend, and of course there's other options for them, but this is something that I personally would be concerned about if I was on Expert's team.
It's taking some time here for Team Expert to decide if they want to move into it. Obviously, you can weigh out the options of what you prefer. Do you want the side soak of Dahaka, which you get a main tank later on? Do you want to grab the main tank right away and just answer back on Dahaka?
I mean, Tacita is open, so I think that might also be something that they're considering here. Do we let that slide and take instead Tacita and try to spec into one of these double support comps? But I like that they are taking ETC, and the immediate reaction is Dahaka. So once again, this split between Dahaka and ETC, and Greymane now taken as well. And I know we've been going over this over the weekend, but I'm sure we have a few new viewers amongst us that don't really understand why ETC has taken this priority. So let me sum it up real quickly. ETC is extremely versatile when you have him, and flexible when you have him as a first pick, because you don't necessarily have to run him as a main tank. You can run him as an off tank that uses stage dive. When he does that, he mirrors Dehaka on the map. So that means after level 7 with Echo Paddle, you have wave clear, you have a lot of interrupts, a lot of stuns, and once Dehaka starts to burrow into fights, you can mirror that with stage dive. If you run him as the main tank, on the other hand, you can still do that and spec into Mosh Pit. So it's that flexibility and utility that he offers on the map that makes him such a high priority. And that's why you oftentimes see one team walk away with ETC, the other one with Dehaka, or ideally one team with both, so that they deny even more global options to the opponent, which becomes even more so important since Illidan has now a much higher cooldown on the hunt.
Best soakers in the game. basically can be summed up to if you need to have them ran that way. Obviously,
Yeah,
there's
they have
more
a little bit
see,
more to them, but that's
yeah.
definitely a good point. Like, the soak is important, but also, of course, the stun utility that you get.
Valla is banned out. I was wondering if we might see a Tracer ban here for Team Dignitas. As we've seen Nick run it in the past, they decided that Valla is worth a ban more, and then we have a new Rug banned out.
I would have even thought about banning Gul'dan again, because, not again, but banning Gul'dan out here, since Mane likes to play the hero. Dignitas has shown through the last few days that they are willing to give Mane his mages again. So over here we have seen him with Kel'Thas on certain maps, we have seen him with Gul'dan, two great options for Mane. But Expert has already shown with Tassadar and Rhaegar that they are really speccing into trying to enable some kind of either melee assassin. They could, for example, try and go into Acacia with this. They could head into Lunara now that Valla is banned out. So they already have that double support draft for themselves. Dignitas, on the other hand, the question still remains, how are they reacting since Uther is banned out? Who's going to be their support? They need a main tank that they can also take on the last position if they want to. But what's going to be the hero for Mane? Are we going to see that mage?
Maybe. I mean, there's a couple options. I think Gul'dan's the one that you go to right away. We saw KT a little bit last time. He can be equally as good on this battleground with the Flame Strike, being able to drop off and help clear those shrines out. Also, great defensively when you get to the late game. They pick up Genji and Karazim. Dignitas bringing up the bakery punching machine.
Yeah, Karazim taken. Looks like he's going to be a solo healer as well, since we don't have... So we have Grey Mane, probably.
Yeah.
Seems like it. And then JPL. Gonna head into the tank as the last pick, which allows Expert to go for another tank, and of course then they need a main damage dealer. So if they want to run ETC as that side soaker that we've been talking about against the Haka, then this is their chance, unless of course they are putting a Thero on someone else.
Yeah, Rhaegar here for the thorough. I'm trying to think of... I was thinking about Sonya for a second or two as being a possible option, but with the double support, you're probably right.
I mean, the question that it comes down to is, are you afraid of the Haka as the global, yes or no?
Yeah.
If you don't care about the global and you think that Dignitas is not going to be able to out-macro you, then you can play ETC as the main tank. If it's a concern to you, then you would run ETC as the off-tank and would put a main tank into play right now. And they go into Tracer, and they play Sonya. So ETC is going to play the main tank role, and we have Sonya face off against the Haka on the top lane.
Oh my golly.
Whereas Varian is the immediate reaction upon the Tracer pick. So keeping that flexible for JPL makes a lot of sense, since with Tassadar and Rhaegar, you already know that one of the options is a Tracer.
Yeah, good. And this is great. I mean, look at all the targets for Team Expert. Even ETC to a degree, if he's not able to proc one of his abilities before getting taunted right away, that burst that can come out from both the Greymane and the Genji can eliminate an ETC. Every single hero from Team Expert, if JPL gets the engage that he wants, and we have the follow-up from both the Karazim, Genji, and the Greymane, could be eliminated quickly. I really like this draft from Dig, and I love the instant Varian. There was a period where Tracer got picked up a lot, and for some reason Varian just completely fell off, because he's easy to macro around, and you think that you can play around him, and you can force the fights, but he's still a great pickup for when you want to lock something down.
He's coming back a lot more against these mobile heroes, but for a long time, as you said, he fell off also because he doesn't have the same amount of wave clear than others.
Yeah.
Every single time I see a Variant draft, especially with Greymane, the one thing that my brain jumps to is trying to at least considering the option of not going into Life Leech on Tassadar, but going into Armor. Because once you survive the burst at the beginning and it's not an insta-kill for your opponent, it's much easier for you to just play around it. So yeah, the insta-kill option that you just pointed out is incredibly important here. But then again, if you run a Tracer, you normally really want that Life Leech, so it's a pretty tough call to make. But yeah, so game number 2 is starting up. We are going straight into our next map, which is, of course, Infernal Shrines. Dignitas map choice. Let's jump in and find out if Expert can turn it around.
Tracer versus Varian. Who will get the victory here? On the left side in the blue, Bad Benny playing ETC, a Thorough on Sonya, Nick on Tracer, Curson on Rhaegar, ADRD playing Tassadar.
And to the right side of the map, it's Team Dignitas with Bakery on the support. This time on Karazim, we have JPL with the Tracer counter. He's playing Varian. Mane playing Greymane. We have currently Snitch on Genji. And last but not least, on that off lane, once again, the Haka played by Azalea.
So Nick is going to be looking for some early game pickups, usually going to be near that ETC. You can afford the Tassadar to be peeled off in the early game to work on soaking lanes, fishing that Side Storm talent, but you want to be able to have him near you, especially when you get those team fights and that level 7 talent coming in line. So Nick can always have those shields to back him up, work on that lifesteal, and try to burn down the targets. Post 10 though, Dignitas, that's where they're going to turn on here. You're going to be able to get that taunt up and online, have to follow up the damage that you need with the Cursed Bullet and the Cocktail. It's going to be rough after 10.
Yeah, I'm still interested to see how exactly this game is shaping up, because I think that Expert has a much better chance here than they do in the previous match. That draft is a lot better. They were able to take some of Dignitas' tools away, so we have a more even fight, I would say, than what happened on Sky Temple. For now, though, we just see nothing too crazy in terms of rotations or aggression happening just yet. Varian, of course, wants to have his level 4 so that he can mitigate most of the damage. Eddie already is playing it rather safe, as he's currently soaking with Bad Benny in the mid lane. And at the top lane, it's the expected battle between Sonya and Dehaka.
Sonya and Dehaka soaking those lanes here. Dehaka will be the one to probably make the first move in most rotations when the Shrine does pop up with him and that Brush Talker. See if a Thorough ever gets to a point where he starts to win this lane and pushes in, breaks down a turret if Dehaka leaves, or comes in and forces the fight. For now, just keeping an eye on Nick as he's in the middle lane, but Team Dignitas is doing a really good job of playing safe. Greymane holding back on the turrets on the bottom side, and Karazim always being near that Genji.
Yeah, Tracer, Nick is going to zip around on the map and look for opportunities, but so far both the teams are playing this rather safe. In the mid lane, AD is just soaking, not even like in range, just dropping a storm every now and then is going to be enough for him. But Benny is the one who also is going to try and create some opportunities with good power slides then later on. And at the top lane, Ethereal is playing it very safe here, since he already realizes that most of Team Dignitas have disappeared in the fog of war. So he needs to make sure that he is not getting ganked, whereas at the bot lane, we have the first Shrine now active on the map.
First Shrine is now active on the bottom side. And seeing Bakery hit a Tracer there. Oh, hang on here. Bad comes in for a power slide, trying to get a pick on Snitch. Nick will be forced to back up. Seeing Bakery hit Tracer there on the Karazim reminds me of the strength that he has at post 16 when he gets that wave of 1,000 Fist, where he's able to walk in and deliver blows. He can chase down Tassadar and Tracer when that 16 power spike hits too, if he decides to go for that build, especially with that Iron Fist being here on that level 1. So we'll see if that is a choice for Bakery, as this is something that we used to see back in the day when Mary Day played for NBT Black. They would try to shut down the Li Mings, the Tracers, those high mobile characters that he could apply damage to.
Yeah, and in the meantime, the fight over the Shrine is also continuing, as both of the teams are very close when it comes to the stacks, but we have to the top lane, Dehaka. So Dignitas is more so willing to give up the Shrine, but they get extra experience thanks to Dehaka soaking. And that is starting to become a bit of an issue, since he's breaking through the wall as well. Sonya is not able to counter-soak that. So Team Expert has to win the Punisher, which they will accomplish. But then they need to also try and get some value through it, and that might be a bigger problem. Up to the top lane, at least for now, Ethereal is finally arriving. Misses the spear. That looked bad. And
I've done that before. It hurts. You know you've messed up. Like, ah.
Yeah, you messed up, and first of all, you didn't really get enough fury so that you can start to spin. So that slows down everything for him. But at the bot lane, let's see if they can at least break through the entire wall and negate the advantage and experience that Dignitas got.
They do. Some poke comes in here from Dig as well. Turn around here from Varian. Drag hits on Rhaegar and Snitch on the side here to help out with the damage. Get some nice damage in from Snitch, but with a Thorough showing up to help his puppy out, a Thorough will save his day.
Yeah, Sonya's little doggy here. Rudy.
You were thinking so hard about that name. I saw your face actually like get super intense. You're like, I need to make a name here.
Yeah, Rudy.
I like Rudy. It's a good name.
Yeah, Rudy is good.
We've named a lot of things today, man. Today's naming day.
Yeah, what was the fort, Frank?
Freddy.
Freddy
the Fort.
Freddy the fort.
How did you forget about him already? That was a
He
game
died
ago.
so fast.
He lived a long life, though.
I couldn't really form that attachment that I usually, yeah.
Well, Dignitas is still on their way here, playing safe, as 7 3/4 experiences here for both of our teams. Dignitas still working on that 10. There should be one more Shrine up soon here, which will be on the cusp of that 10 hitting, so Expert will still have a chance to win the Punisher heavily again. But again, we're waiting for that big spike that will be hitting at 10 for Dignitas as they continue to play safe.
Yeah, so far it has been a pretty standard game. Like, no kills on either side. We have both of them just in 0 kills, level 8. It's really just all about Dignitas saying, yes, you can have the Punisher, we're going to get some value on the other side of the map, on the lane. Expert makes up for that experience lead that Dignitas got through taking down the structures by using the Punisher to claim structures themselves. very, very even. Both of the teams absolutely willing to let this early game slide and just say, okay, once that the Punishers start to scale, once we have the second, the third, maybe the fourth Shrine, then we're going to really go ham on it. And yeah, that's when we're going to need to see how Expert reacts here, because Dignitas is going to try and play that trump card in these situations, and that is the Haka.
Well, 9 is here. Drag does hit. Bad Benny being in the top side is just fine. With the Shrine activating in the middle here, 9 for both of our teams. Team Expert will make their way and be the first to grab some minion kills. They're already up 7, 8 to 0. JPL comes in and will spot on the action and try and maybe steal a few of these, but Team Dignitas doing everything they can here to soak experience. They put 3 in the bottom and they pressure a 4th.
Yeah, Dignitas wants 10. They want 10 and then win the Shrine with the extra talent. I'm not quite sure if they can make that work, because that Shrine is already heavily in favor of Team Expert with 20, and Expert isn't that far away from level 10 themselves. So Dignitas is currently risking to lose both. Experience lead and also, of course, the Shrine itself and the Punisher. We are at 30. I don't see there any way for Dignitas to actually win this.
Yeah, Team Expert should be able to poke on the side. Zelia comes in, they're looking for a drag, they'll find it. They do grab Bad Benny, pull him to the side while JPL moves in.
And it's a party! There's the mosh pit! It is party time. The Punisher is there. Palm is used. There's Sun's coming in, but just look at Greymane going down. Snitch is also low, but trying to slice through. They get a kill against Rhaegar. But at the same time, this Punisher is still moving in, and Bakery finds himself also in all kinds of trouble. ETC with another slide finishes the job, and down he goes. Karazim is dead.
1-for-1 trade there as Rhaegar gets picked up, but so does Greymane. We're going to have a trade-off. Oh, it's a 2-for-1 actually, as the Karazim gets picked off too. This Punisher continues to push in the middle, so Team Expert having a solid advantage there. Breaks down the fort and continues to do well. Great turnaround by the team there. Team Dignitas looking for that small moment, but not able to capitalize.
Yeah, that was really well done, especially with the mosh pit. The palm of Bakery was good. Was an easy one to hit in this case as well, but it was crucial. The problem is that Greymane still died. And yeah, also it was pretty interesting to see that ADRD chose his level 10 extremely late, basically just as the fight was over.
Well, you don't need 10 man, maybe your team comp is just that good. The Archon is a choice for him. Level 10 being there for ADRD. Team Dignitas answering back by running straight to the top lane and pushing it in. They are looking for fights now very actively. JPL a little bit on the side of Team Expert side of the battleground, checking all the bushes and such, but Team Expert plays it safe. You see them hanging out on their side behind turrets and working on their own mercs.
Yeah, with 3 heroes over here, ADRD as well. He can first of all drop the Oracle if he wants to. Sees already that rotation happening and immediately moves out. Oh, party time? Nope, it's still on cooldown, and that means that Bad Benny is in trouble. Also, since Ancestral is on cooldown as well. That was a scary moment, actually, for so many different reasons. If he has Mosh Pit up, that is potentially a dead Team Dignitas. But with ETC not having Mosh Pit and Rhaegar still being on cooldown on the Ancestral during the time, that turned into a very awkward position for the cow.
Yeah, Team Dignitas turning around with the Cursed Bullet. They almost chunked him down to less than a third of his health there. Archon was even popped 2 there. So Team Expert using a big cooldown. Team Dignitas will now work on their level 13 and continue to dance around while the next shrine does activate. The good news for Dignitas is they didn't use Brushstalker gear in that moment, so they continue to keep their Dahaka on the offlane and wait for the shrine to pop up.
But now we're coming back to what I said earlier. Sky Temple, I really feel a lot comes down to the draft, that Dignitas just didn't respect ETC and Dahaka enough. Now on Infernal Shrines, very different game. Very, very even thus far. But Benny, on the other hand, caught a little bit, but it's a dance! Here comes the party, and once again, we're seeing the focus on Karazim. He goes down, no palm available, but the counter kill against ETC, slicing and dicing as this Ethereal goes down to Genji. And what looked like a great start for Team Expert into the fight turns into a quick lead for Dignitas as they go into a 2-for-1 trade.
The Ancestor healing being late, put it on cooldown. The isolation hitting Sonya made it harder for her to turn around and use the Whirlwind, and she gets picked off. And Dignitas will now start their first Punisher of the game here as they are starting to crack down here. 18 to 1 on the minions, even looking for a Tassadar as they have a few more seconds before Sonya is even on the field.
That must be a pretty frustrating moment for Team Expert. If the Ancestral hits in time, then this is a big win for Expert, but it turns against them now, and that is an easy Punisher for Team Dignitas. It was a great opening by Expert, a good mosh pit as well, but in this case, Dignitas just a little bit too much on point with a very nice focus on Bad Benny. so that the Ancestral did not come through in time.
Well, now it's all about defense. Team Expert should be okay here with that Benny in the front line. The power slide to get the Punisher to jump on in. JPL is looking for the taunt into the engage. He will find a bad Benny. There will be a Curse Ball that comes out, and Sesto utilized while Thorough comes down to fight.
Punisher takes down the fort, but that fight is still continuing here. They are trying to go for the boss. Stun comes in, but Dignitas doesn't follow it up. And in the meantime, we see Dehaka at the top left between the fort and the keep, backdooring minion waves to put more pressure onto the fort itself and grab some extra experience.
Yep, and those minion waves make sure that your minion wave gets straight towards that fort. As you were mentioning, they're denying the experience, getting a little bit of damage in, etc., etc. Dignitas continuing to hold this 4-man well. Dehaka is the main target, but already Zelia's gone.
One of the things that we've seen in this game already is that a problem that Dignitas is facing is the lack of interrupts against ETC's mosh pit. This is also one of the main reasons why Bad Benny has been so willing to just throw it out. You very rarely see this if we have several interrupts against it, that an ETC player on this level is willing to just drop a mosh pit whenever. But in this case, Bad Benny, when he sees a kill, he just says, boys, we get this one. So that's something that we definitely have to consider here as well. But at the same time, now that level 10 is here, as we pointed out during the draft phase, if you have Taunt and Cursed Bullet, then there's all of a sudden so much on-point damage that it's very difficult for Rhaegar to judge when to use the Ancestral and when he can save someone without it. Because the amount of damage that is pushed in by just the combo alone is fantastic, and it's very low cooldowns that Dignitas is using for it, whereas, of course, an Ancestral is one of the longest cooldowns in the game.
Do wonder if at 16 we might see that cleansing touch to help with the mosh pit. If the target is out on the outskirts of that mosh pit, you are able to save them, but you do possibly risk the idea of going to the mosh pit yourself to save them. Or do we go for the damage here for the Karazim? I think I prefer the damage. We'll see.
Yeah, me too, because I think if you end up dancing yourself, then it doesn't help you, and you also put, so to say, your own palm on the mosh pit cooldown.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. Rather save the target with the palm and play it that way.
And that will be the choice here. Wave 100 Fist picked up at level 16. So now Bakery has that damage from Karazim. We'll see him diving on Tassadar, Tracer, Rhaegar, whatever he can get his hands on as the Shrine activates to the top.
Yeah, and as we're talking about this, keep in mind that right now, Expert is still able to pick up 16. This is really important for them, since the next Shrine is activating. Dignitas doesn't get a lead that translates into a talent advantage during a main fight. That's important for Team Expert. So that fight is going to be crucial. And Dignitas is even rotating around right now. They are starting to push some pressure onto the bot lane. I think Dignitas is actually really showing a lot of respect from those team fights, because they realize how much of an impact that mosh pit is going to have.
They come in here and they get a turbo to give them 17.
No Sonya.
Do have Expert behind them, but you're right. No Sonya here. Dehaka could brush dog in, but he's slowly making his way in.
Mosh pit.
He's looking for it. Spreading out, Dignitas is being careful. Snitch does go from the side and is fine.
Yeah, and I'm actually amazed that they were able to get out this much. Here comes the bullet, and the Ancestral comes in. But now they have to go for it, because that's a big cooldown that just got burned. And they have to use that small window. Once again, Sonya moving in from the side. Bad Benny, does he use the mosh pit? Does he use the opportunity? He just completely body blocks JPL. Here comes the palm, and they can still go in and drop him. Variant is going to fall eventually, and this is a big, big kill for Team Expert.
Wonderful control there by Team Expert to get the kill. They're looking for another one here on the right side as Tracer chases the Genji. Snitch will be able to get away, but that pick on JPL does allow this push that was grabbed earlier by Sonya to push in and grab a fort.
The read on the map was also something that I found absolutely awesome. Expert realized that there's a high chance that a push to the bot lane is happening. They know that Dignitas feels the pressure in these team fights. You can tell that Dignitas... Okay, here's a problem that Dignitas has. There is a lack of burst damage on that final drop on the target. And that's an issue for them. They have executed the combo several times, and Rhaegar had an easy time getting the Ancestral through, because ETC, who was the target, dropped to maybe 40% damage. They don't have a Li Ming or a Jaina or anything that can use additional burst that is enough to really commit to kill. So Dignitas is all of a sudden realizing, big team fights, 5 versus 5, we're having a huge issue, especially since we can't interrupt the mosh pit. So they are trying to use as much rotations against their opponent as they possibly can. This is why they now move against the bot lane again. So they are trying to out macro their opponent here. And that is an issue for them. So Expert, they are the team that want to team fight.
I do like how Expert answers this back, though. They send a few people to the top right to open the keep wall to make their Punisher that much more effective as it will get towards the keep. Team Dignitas is going to go ahead and continue to put damage on this keep and finally get it. There it is. While we have Snitch taking some damage. Okay, he gets out just barely. They need to get back here and defend, bait this Punisher over, and see if they can handle it coming in. JPL already on the top right, keep holding for now.
I am surprised that Tassadar went back at all, because I thought they would try and end with this here. Like, sacrifice the keep at the bot lane and then try and end with the Punisher. Why else would you do it? Because that Punisher is getting the keep anyways. But now you're more, if you don't go for the keep here, you're basically wasting a Punisher. Here comes the combo. Ancestral comes through. Once again, we're going in with Genji, but the mosh pit hits. Where's the damage? Tassadar is not here yet.
Tassadar finally gets here. He'll give out a shield, but the mosh pit being down. Bakery will be the target. He's going to be able to use the Divine Palm. JPL coming out with the side. The big pulse bomb hitting, but Bakery coming in for the heal.
Once again, the healer's being started, but once there comes the power slide. Main, and he goes down. Greymane eliminated, and we have Expert going for the core. AD Artie is with him now. He can pop the Arcan, and he soon will. This is an opportunity for Team Expert to win game number 2. The core goes down slowly but steadily, as once again we're having Team Expert moving in, trying to get another kill. The turnaround storms everywhere. Archon being popped. Cursor with the heals. Nick is low, but he moves out. Bakery about to fall. The core's down to 70%.
They're holding for now here. JPL on the side will have another engage, but Snitch, he gets to here protected for the moment. He's able to dash towards the fountain. 30% on the core. Team Dignitas needs to defend now. Bakery turns around. They're going to kill on Tracer, but it doesn't matter. Team Expert will actually get the victory here and be able to go 1-1 in the series, tying it up.
All right, we have a series. It's getting awesome here. But again, the last few decisions, the moment I saw that they are not moving back in force for the keep, I was, okay, there's only one reason you do this. It's you want to end with the Punisher. They don't have 20, it's same talents, but there's no other reason to stay at the top and try to push through the wall. Because you know at that point already, Dignitas is going to get the keep.
Sure.
100%. So the only reason why you would not move back earlier is because you say, we are opening the wall, and then with the Punisher, we have to take core, because if we don't, we just wasted a massive Punisher. And it just comes down again to the fact that Dignitas didn't want a team fight. They didn't want to go for team fights. And the one team fight they forced with this was a 4 versus 5 for the longest time until Tassadar came back. So from Dignitas' point of view, it was actually smart adjustments with their rotations. But it was just a little bit too much. The mosh pits were so valuable, even with Tassadar not being there. Once he was back in the fight, it was too much. But a good attempt by Dignitas still come back into this. But Expert makes it a series.
We got a series on our hand. We'll be right back with game number 3 here and see who could take the lead in the series.
Kel'Thuzad is a ranged burst mage that locks down enemies and devastates them with a powerful combination